Bill Henson is probably Australia's most famous art photographer. His signature series of young pubescent girls and boys set in moody, dark and mysterious settings have sometimes caused him serious angst. Like when his show at Sydney's Roslyn Oxon Gallery were removed by police in 2008, which also brought condemnation from the then Prime Minister Kevin Rudd as revolting. But Bill has far more supporters than detractors, and after the controversy of Sydney 2008 evaporated, he continued with his art. His works are sought after by collectors worldwide, particularly in Europe. In this interview, Bill, like Jeff Wall, discusses his love of film, and he's now tried to insulate himself from the demise of the analogue world. Bill, if Jeffrey Smart is the master of stillness, is Bill Henson the master of darkness?
It's not for me to say. I don't know. Whether you're composing music or whether you're trying to make a photograph of some kind, it's how you suggest, larger things, how you universalise, if you like, the subject. We see it as proof of something, firstly. Even in the digital age, we're so conditioned to seeing photography in terms of its evidential authority, primarily proof of objects in space or events in time. The suggestive potential of photography is more profoundly contradictory and more challenging and more interesting for me than any other medium.
Jeff Wall said to me he was stockpiling film. And the real problem for people using film, of course, is the supply of new film. So how do you do it?
I stockpiled my my traditional photographic paper for years. I had a friend, Chris Rudolph, who used to run AGFA here in Australia, and he rang me up one day and sort of said, they've stopped making the paper in Leverkusen or wherever it was. Do you want me to see if I can get you what's left? And then he rang back and said, there's no mother roll, which means it had all been chopped up and packaged and boxed and sent off. But he tracked down the last couple of tons of it in the US. It was warehoused over there, and so they flew it back frozen for me, and I stuck it into a medical supplies warehouse out in Campbellfield. And so I sort of had a borrowed time of perhaps 3 or 4 years to continue to work on this analogue paper. And as it now turns out, as my dear friend Les Walkling will say, the upward sort of curve of scanning technology had just peaked when my photographic traditional paper ran out.